Morning everybody, thanks for joining this bank holiday session of Pilates. It's a general all over essentials session today, so nothing too taxing or strenuous and certainly nothing too complicated. We've probably seen most, if not all, of the exercises before, so we'll get on the mat and we'll get started. I'm going to start on our backs. I'm going to start with some simple ab prep. So lying out flat, just taking a second to take some breaths, hands on your rib cage and just feel that rib cage expanding as you breathe in and contracting and collapsing as you breathe out. Really rib breathe. Keep that belly button in place by drawing it to about 30% tension, switching on that TVA muscle, that weightlifter's belt, and breathing through the rib cage. Allow your shoulders to become heavy on the mat. And just let your legs completely relax, switch off the hips. Arms by your sides, and we're just going to turn the palms in, lift them slightly off the mat. Keep your chin away from your chest. As you breathe in, exhale, press your lower back into the mat to squeeze up, lifting your shoulders and head just slightly curled up from the mat. Inhale to come back down. Exhale. Keep that belly button at 30% so it doesn't balloon out, it stays flat. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. You'll have to forgive some of the sounds through my breathing today. Just a little bit of a cold last week. Just left my airways a little bit blocked. I apologise for that. Exhale through pursed lips, blowing out to create that tension. Inhale down. So you can see, now we're looking at it on a video, this isn't a huge movement. Inhale down. We're not trying to sit up like this. We're just trying to load up the abs with the weight of the upper body. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Let's do 3 more. 3. Try and keep those shoulders open. 2, so you're not reaching like this, they're nice and open. And 1. So we've come at the abs from the top with the upper body. We're now going to come at them from the bottom with the lower body. We're going to lift one leg to tabletop and the second leg to tabletop. Keep the knees hip width apart so the legs aren't together. They're hip width apart with that gap between. Arms by your sides and just nice and relaxed in the upper body. Point the toes slightly, keep the knee at 90 degrees, hinge at the hip as you exhale down, just toe tap and lift back up and switch sides. Exhale down, keep that core engaged, keep that belly button down. Inhale, draw back up. Exhale, nice and slow. Really find the contact with the ground before drawing back up. Toes are pointed, so you are toe tapping rather than heel tapping. Lifting back up, that core stays engaged. Exhale down. Inhale back up. So the hip flexors are getting a workout here because they're the thing that are allowing the leg to control lower down and lift back up. But it's actually the core that's getting the major workout because the weight of the leg dropping down is wanting to tip the pelvis like this. You keep exercising as I'm showing this example, but the weight of the leg is wanting to tip the pelvis away and arch the back. What you're doing is using the core to press down and keep that in contact so that as you lower the leg, the back stays still and the pelvis stays still with no tipping. So I'm back to the exercise now. I'm going to do 2 more on each side. Exhale down. Inhale up, really focus on keeping that knee at 90 degrees and hinging at the hip so that we're not just foot dropping like this. And last one on each side. Back up. And last one on this side and back up. We're going to hold in this position with the legs. The hip flexors are probably a little bit fired up now. You're going to bring your fingertips to either side of your ears, just lightly at the back of the head. Don't clasp the fingers, don't pull on the head. Keep the elbows wide so they should be in contact with the floor, and that's how wide they stay. We're not going to be flapping our arms like this. We're going to stay wide. We're going to lift up into our prep. We're going to rotate with the upper body back to center, rotate to the other side, to center and down, keeping the legs in tabletop position. Up to our prep, rotate as you exhale. Inhale to center, exhale to twist, inhale back to center and lower down. Take a breath in at the bottom, exhale up, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and lower back down. So you can really get a sense of how to use your breath with the movement on this one as we talk about in class. Big breath in at the bottom, exhale to lift. Big breath in, exhale to rotate. Inhale to center, exhale to rotate. Inhale back to center and lower back down. Keeping those legs still in the air, feet are up, you haven't let them drop. Legs are up, tabletop position, and keep moving. Exhale up, rotate. So don't wait for my cue. I'm demonstrating, but you should just be flowing this movement with your breath now. Exhale up. Exhale to rotate. Inhale to center. And down. Let's do 3 more, however many you've done. And down. Keep those elbows nice and wide. You're rotating the upper body, not flapping your arms around. And down. And last one, using your breath. Make this your strongest one. Lift. Rotate. To center. Rotate. To center. And down. And gently with control, bring the legs back down to the mat. Release the arms and relax. We're going to bring the legs back to tabletop position. Almost done with that. Now you're going to need some space above you and below you for this one, because we're going to go into a full length body stretch. Legs are at tabletop position, knees hip width apart, arms are straight up in the air. You're going to take a nice breath in, lock in through the core, keep control. You're going to reach out with opposite arm, opposite leg. Nice and controlled and slow. And back to center. Exhale to reach out. Point the toes, point the fingertips. Make yourself as long as you can. Come back to center. Switching sides each time. Exhale down, keeping that core engaged. Inhale back up. And that slight pause at the end so that you know that you're in control. Long, paused, strong, and back to center. And switching sides. Long, reach out, controlled, and nice and slow back to center. Keep that core engaged, and you know whether you're doing that, whether you can feel the muscular contraction in the belly or not. What you can tell is whether your back is starting to arch as you reach out. If it is, you need to switch on even more. Imagine you're pressing down into the mat. And switching sides each time. Exhale down. Inhale up. We're going to do 2 more on each side. Nice and slow and controlled with your breath. Good. Last one on each side. And hug your knees into your chest. Give your hip flexors a good rest. We're going to move on to a different phase of exercise now. We're going to do some shoulder bridges or glute bridges. A little bit of a rest for those hip flexors. Release the feet down to the mat. And as ever with this, you want to be able to just about reach your heels with your fingertips without reaching too much. Relax the upper body. Knees stay hip width apart. And taking a breath in, locking into the core. Squeeze the glutes, tuck the tailbone under and roll up to shoulder bridge. Keeping the knees in line with the hips. Drawing a straight line between knee, hip and shoulder. Push the hips up towards the ceiling by squeezing those glutes and rolling back down. Initiate the bridge by squeezing the glutes, feel the tailbone tuck under and rolling up to rest on the shoulder blades, keeping the knees in line with the hips and rolling back down. Mobilize the spine. Don't just lift the back like it's a flat board. Roll up and roll back down. Exhale up, inhale at the top, exhale back down. squeezing the glutes to push up towards the ceiling. And back down. Try and make sure that your lower back touches the mat before your backside does, which might mean pushing down, keeping those glutes switched on, switching on the core, pushing into the mat. And lift. And down. Good. Let's do 4 more, however many you've done. The real squeeze and push up at the top. And down. And 2 more. And last one, and we're going to go into some single leg work, keeping that core engaged all the time. So bringing one leg up to tabletop position, we're going to push through the heel of the planted foot. You don't have to lift your toes, you just want to make sure that your weight is going through the heel rather than the toes. Nice big breath in as you exhale, lift up, push up at the top. Really make sure you've still got the range that you had with both legs before coming back down. And pushing up, really push, squeeze that glute and rolling back down. We're still doing the rolling through the back. You still want that mobility as well. And down. And 3 more. Using your breath with the movement, keeping that core engaged, using the glute to lift, pushing through the heel. And last one on this side. And down. And switching sides. Really plant that foot, make sure that it's at the right distance away. Bring the opposite leg up to tabletop position and start to roll. Squeeze, 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 and back down. Just doing 6 of these single legs in total. 2, 3. Trying to get as much range as you can. Push, 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 and roll back down. 5. And last one on this side. We're going to go back to the other side. This time we're going to do some pulses. So bring the leg down, lift, switching sides. We're going to lift up and we're going to do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the leg down, roll down. Switching sides. We're going to lift. And you're going to breathe with each pulse as well. So it's 8. 3, 2, 1. Bring the leg down, rolling down. Switching sides, once more on each side. Tabletop position, lift up and exhale. 8, 7, 2, 1. Bring the leg down, rolling down. Switching sides, last one on this side. Lifting up, dipping but not to the ground, and 7, 6, 2, 1. Bring the leg down, rolling down to the mat. I'm going to come onto our sides now. So just lying out straight. Arm outstretched with your head resting on your bicep. You can just put a towel in there if that's too much of a drop for you. Bring the knees out front, bent, so you're about 45 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees. Hand on your hip if you want, hand in front of you if you want. It doesn't really matter where this goes. It can go up in the air if you want to. We're going to bring the top leg to just about hip height. We're going to point the toes. And we're going to lift the knee and drop the foot, really opening up at the hip, external rotation of the hip. We're going to drop the knee and lift the foot into internal rotation. So really press the knee downwards, lifting the foot upwards, going into internal rotation at this hip. And go the opposite way again. Lift the knee, drop the foot. Try not to let the hips roll around. Your upper body and pelvis should be still. The only thing that's moving is this leg. Rotating the hip joint. Drop the knee. Really press into it. Feel this in the TFL at the front here. And as you open up into external rotation, drop the foot, lift the knee. You'll feel that in the glute medius at the back. into internal rotation. A few clicks and pops are absolutely fine. You might find that with the hips when you push them into extreme internal and external rotation. As long as they don't hurt, that's fine. If they do hurt, then either take it down a step. If it still hurts, then you possibly need to stop and just consult either with me or another professional. And just keep moving with that extra squeeze at the end range. So holding, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as much as you can. And into internal rotation. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Internal rotation is always the hardest because it's got the least range of movement. And out. Lift the knee, drop the foot. Let's just do one more of each. Internal rotation. And external rotation. Back to center, drop the knee. Going to straighten the legs. Now if you're on polished floor, you want to make sure that your feet are on the mat so that your socks can't slide around. You're going to come onto your elbow, nice and strong through this side. So we're not slouched here with the elbow, with the shoulder popping out. We're nice and strong, shoulder popped in. With the legs straight, locking out the knees, locked in through the core. We're going to pop the hand on the side, lift up into side plank. Going to hold here with the elbow directly beneath the shoulder, and we're going to reach, we're going to push the hips up towards the ceiling, and we're going to bring the arm back. We're going to dip, but not all the way down. And push away, exhale, inhale down. Exhale, reach out long, inhale down. Exhale, down. Keep that core engaged for 3, 2, and 1. And down to the mat. I'm going to spin round. You can just roll over. Completely up to you. I'm going to come down to the mat again to balance things out. Arm out straight, head resting on the biceps. Upper hand is either on the mat, on your hip, or up in the air. Completely up to you. Bend the knees. 45 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees. Lift the leg. And we're going to lift the knee, drop the foot. I'm going to do about 8 in total each way. And drop the knee, lift the foot. Nice and tight squeeze through that TFL muscle for internal and the glute medius at the back for external. Nice and still through the upper body with the core engaged. And just using your breath with the movement. Don't be too strict on yourself whether it's in or out with the breath on each movement, as long as it is matching the movement. Real squeeze at the end range to get as much out of it as you can, keeping the pelvis and the upper body still on the mat. So you're not rolling around. This is the only thing that's moving. And technically the only thing that's actually articulating is the hip joint itself, that ball and socket. Let's do 2 more. And last one each way. And back to center, lowering the legs. With the legs straight, locking out the knees, locked in through the core, we're going to pop the hand on the side, lift up into side plank. Going to hold here with the elbow directly beneath the shoulder, and we're going to reach, we're going to push the hips up towards the ceiling, and we're going to bring the arm back. We're going to dip, but not all the way down. And push away, exhale, inhale down. Exhale, reach out long, inhale down. Exhale, down. Keep that core engaged for 3, 2, and 1. And down to the mat. Coming on to our front now, we're going to just warm up with some simple back extension. So forehead to the ground, relax down onto the mat,
Arms out in that 90-degree position, 90 degrees at the shoulders, 90 degrees at the elbows. You're going to take a big breath in, lock in through the core as ever. As you exhale, we're just going to lift the upper body slightly off the mat. Again, as we did at the beginning, you can see now on the camera that this isn't a huge movement. We're not trying to lift all the way up in the air. We're just loading up our lower backs with the weight of the upper body. Inhale to come back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale to lower. Now the object of this, as I repeat so many times in class, is to keep the glutes switched off. Otherwise you're just using your glutes. We want to really target these lower back muscles, not these big glute muscles. Down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Keep that core engaged. Remember that core muscle, the transverse abdominis, comes all the way around into your back, and the multifidus is a back muscle. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Resting down, little wriggle out through the hips, and going to bring the arms round so that the hands are underneath the shoulders, the thumbs are just grazing the edges of your pecs, and you're going to bring your elbows in so that they're gripping your rib cage. Nice big breath in as you exhale. You're going to lift like the back extension, but you're going to push the heels of your palms into the ground. Feel your triceps kick in, lock in through the core, lift that little bit higher. We're not trying to straighten the arms though. We're just trying to support the lift. Straightening the arms will take the triceps out, and we want the triceps to be working. Squeeze the elbows in. Look forwards, not up, but forwards, and come back down and relax for a split second. As you breathe in, exhale, lift the head, lift the back, but still trying to keep those glutes out of the equation. It's just the lower back and the triceps and the arms that are lifting, and down. Exhale, try and keep your head nice and tall. So you're not hunched around your shoulders here. You're nice and tall and lifted, and down. Imagine you're almost pushing your hands away forwards from yourself as if they're going to slide out that way. And the traction with the mat is what's keeping them in place. Exhale, lift. Again, don't always wait for my prompt. Just keep flowing with this movement. I'm describing and demonstrating, so don't pause with me necessarily. You just keep moving. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and last one, 1. And gently coming back down to the mat with control. You're going to bring your hands around, one hand on top of the other, forehead resting on the hands. That just gives your nose a little bit of space so that you can keep your neck in line with your spine while we do the next exercise. We're going to reach out with the right leg. Doesn't matter which really, we're going to do both, but I'm going to use my right because it's nearest the camera. Going to point the toes. We're going to keep the knee completely straight by squeezing the quad, lifting the kneecap. We're going to squeeze the glute coming from here to lift that leg out completely straight and back down. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Resist the temptation to bend the knee. It doesn't matter how high your foot goes up towards the ceiling. This is about squeezing the glute and using a little bit of those lower back muscles that we've just warmed up. The straighter the leg, the better the challenge of the lift. So much more easy if you do it wrong like this, because you're really just bending your knee. You're not lifting the upper portion of the leg. Exhale and lift. 4, 5. 4, keeping the core engaged. 3, exhaling on the lift, inhaling on the lower. 2, and 1. And switching sides for 10. Squeeze that quad, lift the kneecap, keep the leg straight, and you're going to squeeze through the glutes to lift the leg. 10. 9. Exhaling on the lift, inhaling on the lower. Try not to push into the ground with this leg too much. Make it the lifting leg that's doing all the work. 6. Remember that slight pause at the top so that you've got as much out of it as you can. 4. 3. Reaching out with the leg as well. 2. And 1. Lowering down with control. Going to switch back to the other leg, but this time we're going to bend the knee to 90 degrees, press out through the heel, so lifting the toes, and you're going to squeeze the glute again. You're going to press the heel towards the ceiling and down for 9, 8. Exhale to lift, 7. Inhale to lower, 6. 5. 4, nice and slow and controlled with your breath. 3. 2. And 1. And down, straighten that leg, switching sides to balance things out. Press out through the heel, keep the knee at 90 degrees, and lift through the glute. 10. 9. 8. 7. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. 5. 4. 3. 2. And last one. And down. Straighten that leg. We're going to finish on a slightly more intense exercise. We're going to bring the palms round underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes at the back. Going to lift to the knees. And if you can, you're going to lift to full plank. You can do this from the knees, if that's easier, or you can choose the full plank. And we're going to lead with the right arm. We're going to go down to the elbow, down to the other elbow, into lower plank. We're going to right arm up and left arm up. Right down, right up, right down, right up. Notice my plank isn't changing. I'm not doing this. The plank stays flat. It's the arms that take you up and down. Keep going for 3, 2, and 1. We're going to lead with a different arm. So if you led with the right, we're now going to lead with the left. Left and left up. Left down, left up. Left down, left up. Breathing all the time, keeping that plank nice and strong. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Holding nice and controlled. Take the knees to the ground, relaxing back. Big toes together at the back, knees mat width apart. Take the arms forwards, sit back to the heels into child's pose. Bringing the intensity down, bringing the breathing down. Keep those elbows up, keep the forehead up, just for the time being. Creep the fingertips forwards, open up the shoulders. Long, deep breaths to return your breathing to normal. Dropping into those hips. Nice, deep child's pose to finish. Big breath in. As you exhale, drop the elbows, drop the forehead into a slumped, relaxed child's pose. Really getting that breathing back under control. Calming yourself down. And in your own time, use your hands to walk yourself back up to seated. And we're all done.
Thanks for joining that today. I hope you found it useful. I hope it's filled the gap for this bank holiday. We are back in class next Monday as usual. So see you all then and have a good week.